Hello and welcome. My name's Kathy A. And today I'm going to do a show about two brands, Sephora and Ulta brands. Now this is a little different than just going into the store. This is actually their brands, and I'm sure you remember back in the old days we had something known as plain wrap. Now plain wrap was like the store brand or a cheap brand or an imitation brand. It's now a lot more dignified than it used to be, but plain wrap was kind of a bad joke in the 1970s. There was a plain wrapper with a blue stripe on it, and it was like, it would just say something like rice cereal, or it would say soap, or it would say detergent, or lipstick or something. You know, it would just say a plain thing. It wouldn't be anything special. Now it's a lot more sophisticated. But back then, plain wrap was kind of like the store brand, and it was considered a lower class thing to have. And so I think a lot of us, especially in our age group, think of Sephora brand and Ulta brand as being kind of the plain wrap of makeup, and that it gets ignored a lot, especially by our group, I think. So I decided to buy full faces of makeup from each of these brands and kind of compare them side by side, see which one I liked better than the other, and if there was anything in there that was kind of holy grail status or actually competed with high-end brands that they actually feature in some of these stores. So midway through my research, I discovered that Sephora was not cruelty-free. Not only are they not cruelty-free, it's really bad. They have a store in China, and having a store in China means that every single thing that they sell in that store is tested on animals, and it's really horrific what the Chinese do to animals to test products before they're allowed in the country. I just find that so odd, because all of their exported items, you know, they have lead in them, they have poison in them. I mean, they just send all their crap out to us, and you know, of course Walmart, Kmart, all those places buy them, and our babies were getting sick from chewing on the toys that had lead in them, and yet when we send stuff to China, they test the dickens out of it, and they test it on animals like dogs and cats and monkeys and mice and hamsters and rabbits, and it's really awful what they do. And any kind of product, and this is a country that thinks of women babies, you know, they drown women babies, but I guess apparently the ones they let survive and grow to adulthood, they want to make sure to protect them, so they test all of the makeup and all of the formulas when they come into China. So Sephora is quite guilty of this. And they have their own brands in China, and they have the store. And if you go to the Sephora website in China, you will see listed all of the brands that have agreed to have their products tested on animals. And there are some surprises there. And Stila was one big surprise to me. I thought Stila was cruelty-free, but apparently allowing this atrocity to go on, Stila is not cruelty-free, so I was surprised. Anyway, what I'm going to do first is just start off with a kind of a full little story about Sephora and a story about Ulta, and then I'm going to do a makeover from start to finish with the Ulta makeup, because they're not cruelty, they are cruelty-free. And I wanted you to see how I got to here from my plain old shower face, and talk a little bit about the products. And I apologize for the Sephora leg of the tour, because I did a full face tutorial with Sephora, and I accidentally deleted all the videos. I thought I had put them, and I had put them into a video, but then I deleted the masters, and the video hadn't been saved yet. It was still just a project, so unfortunately I lost all the footage to the Sephora leg of this, but I will talk about the products at the end. Anyway, here is the story of Sephora.
The story of Sephora begins with this man, Dominique Madinaud. In Paris in 1969, he opened up a perfume shop, but it was really special. Prior to this, perfumes and cosmetics were always carefully guarded behind glass cases, and the only way you could purchase cosmetics was to have somebody behind the counter help you. This process was intimidating to many women and discouraged sales. So Dominic decided to put the perfumes out front where people could sample them and try them on themselves without the aid of a white-coated lady behind the counter. These shops were so popular, he soon had 8 of them, called Shop 8, and they were strewn around Paris. The cosmetics and perfumery shops were very profitable, so by 1994 he acquired the Boots plc chain. There were 38 stores, and this is the mother company to the Boots Chemist you now know in the UK. Using the word Sephos, which means beauty, and Zipporah, who was supposedly Moses' most beautiful wife, Sephora was born. Now the main Sephora shop is based in France, and this is the flagship store. They sell a variety of high-end cosmetics from many different types of cosmetic companies. The staff is known as the cast, and they have a front stage and a backstage. The cast members also have directors, who are the managers and regional directors. They start off learning about scent and perfume. They then graduate to skincare, and if they're lucky, they get promoted to work in the color section, which are the cosmetics. In 1995, Sephora launched its own brand of cosmetics, the S brand, and it expanded its stores to other countries, including the United States, which made it extremely popular and was an instant hit. In 1997, Sephora, the brand, was bought by Louis Vuitton, Moet, and Hennessy, purveyors of fine jewelry, champagne, shoes, handbags, etc. And they decided to open beauty bars. By 2006. You could have little mini makeovers or big makeovers. They came out recently with the Color IQ device, which is a machine that would measure your skin so that you could be color matched to any of the foundations in the store. There's also a nail studio there that you can actually paint all of your nails different colors or all the same color. You can give yourself a free manicure, or you can test out different formulas of different brands. They have their Beauty to Go bar, which is the impulse aisle just before you go to pay, which is very popular because you can get sample sizes of many of the products. And they also teach classes and courses once in a while, and they have events. They started an insider and very important beauty insider division, which was kind of like a club. If you spend a certain amount of money, you get a certain amount of perks. Now, while they have hundreds more stores all over the world, they actually launched to be inside of J.C. Penney stores, and they offer specials in homage to their originators, perfume samplers with a ticket for a full-size perfume bottle for a very nominal price. Now, they opened a store in China, and of course you know what that means, that the products are tested on animals before they're allowed to be sold there. So not all of the brands who are normally sold in Sephora agreed to this process, but some did, just so you know. An interesting collaboration was Sephora's partnering with Pantone. Now, these are the folks who make the absolute master charts of colors that are used by designers and paint companies all over the world. You can find the color Marsala, which is the color for 2015, anywhere in the world, and if you use the Pantone Marsala, you will have the exact shade. They create a line of makeup based around this color every year. Of course, these palettes sell out quickly. Sephora was groundbreaking in its concept of letting women try before you buy, and this concept has changed the face of cosmetic sales forever, and for that I'm grateful to them.
Now that you've heard the story of Sephora, here is the story of Ulta.
The Ulta story begins in 1988 with this man, Richard George. He was the CEO of Osco Drug Company, and he resigned because he wanted to start his own beauty company. Seeing how popular the cosmetics and hair products were selling in his stores, he decided to open a chain of beauty stores that would have unusual product lines and drugstore lines and lines that people couldn't find anywhere else. He also had an extensive nail section and hair accessory section, and decided to open a full-fledged salon as well. He would also have licensed hair products and even hair accessories like yours truly wears. The Ulta stores also sold extensive accessories like makeup organizers, perfumes, and higher-end brands like Bare Minerals and Lorac, and Too Faced, and Mally. The stores would also have an extensive bath and body and skincare line and feature products you couldn't find anywhere else. Most recently, the IT Cosmetic brush line made just for Ulta. Now, Ulta also started their own line of cosmetics. Many of these items are high quality and are often offered in little kits with purchase. They also do this with high-end products. Ask any Ulta employee and they'll be happy to help you with your makeup selection. And there's also a benefit brow bar where you can actually have your brows done by a professional. And there is a full salon for hair and skincare services. You can have it all done there. It's really an amazing place. Now in 2007, they became traded on NASDAQ, and the stocks have gone up quite a bit since then. They've just recently reported a fourth quarter that was quite successful. Ulta is very charitable and give a great deal of money to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, partially through their Donate a Kiss process, and also with Ellen DeGeneres.
You guys should all duck. Okay. Ready? Underhand? Really? Oh. I got excited. Hold on. I gotta stay calm.
This event, which was held in 2014, actually raised $1.5 million for cancer research. Now, Mary Dillon is actually the new CEO of Ulta, and there are over 700 stores and 46 states, and they are actually selling 20,000 products from 459 brands. So you can feel really good about your purchases from Ulta. I know I do. Thank you so much, Ulta. What a wonderful place.
So now Ulta is kind of an interesting brand, and so I thought I would go through like a complete tutorial from start to finish, straight out of the shower with a moisturizer on my face, and show you how I got to here from the beginning. So through the magic of video, let's go back in time. Plain Jane me.
Okay, whirlwind tour here. We're going to start off with the Ulta Fabulous Face Foundation Primer, and they actually have several different types. This one is the clear gel that is just like the Smashbox Photo Ready. I saw no difference between the two. And I'm just lightly putting it all over my face and on my neck and a little extra around the ridges. And I'm actually using this in my eyes as well to help with the shadow. I didn't get the eye primer. We're going to start it off with the Demi Matte Foundation in Classic Ivory. I believe this was the lightest shade, if not close to the lightest shade that they had. The display was a little awkward that I got this from. Now I'm using a beauty blender. It's a dampened sponge, and I'm pouncing it into my skin just on one side because I'm going to use a different makeup on the other side. And I'm just adding a little bit more for a little more of a buildup of coverage because it's kind of a medium light coverage. So I have a few spots that were showing through, and I'm just going again with the beauty blender, which is dampened, and I'm pouncing it in to make a more airbrush look. Now this is the Mineral Powder Foundation in Fair number 03. There is a Fair 02 and a Fair 01. I may have gone maybe one shade darker than I should have with this, and I'm so sorry. I keep looking out the window. It looks out onto the deck, and you can see the birds and the squirrels fighting over the seed hanging there. And they actually knocked over the pole with the seed container on it, so I was looking at what was going on. There was a lot of commotion out there. Anyway, I'm kind of slapping this on with a large powder brush. That's a Sonia Kashuk brush. Very unceremoniously dumping that onto my skin. And now I'm looking in the mirror just to make sure everything settled right. It looks pretty good. So we're going in with the concealer. This is the Fabulous Face Natural Finish Concealer in Light. And I'm hoping there's a fair shade. I know there was a very light whitish shade that I thought would be way too light, so I didn't get that. I got just the light, and I don't think that it brightened enough for me. It went on really smoothly and did not sink into my lines under my eyes. I was kind of pleased with the formula there. We're moving into our blush and bronzer duo. This is the Splendor blush and the base bronzer, and I'm using an Ulta contour brush, which is flimsy and scratchy, and it's actually not putting the product very good on my skin on the Demi Matte Foundation side. It's really blotchy, and I'm just trying to work with it, putting it under my jawline there to try to take some of those double chins out. And we're going into the blush now. Now this Splendid blush is very light, and it actually disappears after a short time. I put way too much on that other side, and that's why I put Eek there. There's way too much there as you're facing me on the right there. And that's an Elle stipple brush that broke in half. And I'm going back in with a concealer because that disrupted my little age spot to come out, and I'm going just along the edge of my eyes where a little bit of darkness is. Concealer seems to work pretty well. Now these three mini quads came in the free kit that I just got. That's Natural, Smoky, and Romantic, those three. And it was a nice sampling of different colors. And I'm using a light shimmer shade as a highlighter, just in some of those places where I want to glow. Now this was a gift from my birthday. It is the Complete Eye, and the shade combination is called Indie. I'm using the lightest shade in the center as my base shade. And I'm looking at the birds again. They're all fighting out there. I'm really sorry. I'm so distracted by I shouldn't face the window, or I should put a curtain or something there. And I'm just using a Real Techniques brush to pack the color on all over my lid, and that's a light shade in the center of this particular one. Now I'm going into the little mini quads, and I'm just going to use a combination of shades from them to try to build up some color. There was a ton of fallout from especially the darker shades in this line. I really am not a fan of the eyeshadows, and I'm still trying to build up some light shades on the lid. It's not working very well. Going into the blush bronzer, I'm actually using some of the bronzer and some of the medium dark shade from the Indie palette, which was the birthday gift they gave. And I thought the Indie palette, which was the larger palette, I thought that had a little bit more pigment to it. And there I am going into the bronzer to try to use a transition shade that's a little bit more matte. I really was having trouble with getting a good good eye look from any of these shadows. Now that particular dark shade just put all kinds of little brown sprinkles all over my face. A large woodpecker just came up and was yelling at all the other birds. So now I'm blending it very lightly, but you can see it almost disappears from just a little bit of blending. So I mean, in some ways it's good that you can't overdo it, in other ways it disappears. And I'm using a medium blue on the center of my lid to try to add a little zing. Now this is the Ulta gel eyeliner, and the color is Denim, which is kind of a dark, steely, gray, blue color. It's very hard, and I'm not liking it at all. It's really hard to get any kind of color payout out of it, and it's too hard to use in my tight line or my waterline. Going back in there, I'm going to use a little shadow over the top of that line because it was a little harsh, and just kind of smoothing out, softening up the line a little bit, and using the darker shadow to try to get a little more of a line. And I just can't seem to get any kind of darkness in that corner there. And this is the light going just underneath the brow with a shimmery light color, and that did work. Now this is the brow wax kit, and it's in light and medium. So there's a light and medium brown powder, and then there's a clear wax. So I'm kind of combining the two together and making a hot mess, but it is filling the brows really nicely. I think it did a really good job for a cheap little freebie that came in that 15-piece free set that you get with the flowered case. You had to spend like $19, and they gave you like eyeshadows, cheek colors, eyeliner, mascara, lipstick. I mean, it was kind of a nice assortment of stuff, and a lot of that is what I'm using today. This is the Amped Lashes mascara, supposed to be volumizing. It really wasn't. It took a lot of effort, and it was kind of scratchy to try to get any kind of volume or length out of it. It wasn't messy, I'll have to give it that. It didn't get all over the place, but it really didn't give me the big honkin' lashes that I really like. And I'm just going to go back and do like second and third coats with this mascara. I would not recommend the mascara. I have not had good luck with Ulta eyeshadows, eyeliners, or mascaras. Those three things just seem to always be a fail for me, and I've given them several opportunities over the years. I've tried different formulations, different colors. Some seem to work better than others, but now to the lips. This is the automatic lip liner, and the color is Spice. It's kind of a dark maroony brown color, and I am filling that in with a lip crayon that looked like a bright coral, but it's actually kind of blah. I didn't really like it too much. So I'm going in with the super shiny lip butter, and this color is called Rome, and I really liked it. I actually did test this in the store, and these I think only run around $6. Now over the top of that is the Butter Bomb lip gloss. I don't know what color this is because once you take the plastic wrap off the outside, the color went with it. The nail lacquer is Peach Parfait. I really like that very much. Good formulation. And now here we go with the eyelashes. I'm just using individual eyelashes from Ardell. These are just little clumps of 3 or 4 lashes. Having an awful time with that. And I'm using Duo clear lash glue. And we're done.
So there you have it. That is the Ulta face. And this half is with the regular foundation. And this half is with the powder foundation, which is so much like Bare Minerals. It actually could be Bare Minerals. It's so close. The difference being that this doesn't sink into the lines like Bare Minerals does. So I think it's actually better than Bare Minerals powder foundation. So this was totally a win. The only thing I'll say is that there is a teeny bit of a gold sheen to this. And if you are very, very wrinkly, very lots of lines and things, that gold sheen kind of, you know, exaggerates it a little bit. So I would say that out of the two, this Demi Matte foundation really went on well. I thought it went on really well. Now the blush applied equally as well to both types of foundations. I believe this was the lightest, and this was called Light. This was the lightest concealer they had. I think there was one that was maybe white. It was probably a little bit too light, so that was not my choice. But I didn't think that this brightened very much in the middle at all, but it did cover really well as a concealer, but it was meh. Now Ulta brushes, I'm not very impressed. I mean, it worked okay as, you know, to get the contour on there, but it's just scratchy feeling and cheap feeling, just as I expected. The this comes out really fast out of the tube, but it is exactly like Smashbox photo finish. Exactly. So I would say that this was a dupe for that. The blush was okay. It was, you know, it kind of disappears over time, and it's already seems to have kind of disappeared from when I first put it on a few minutes ago. So I would say that probably both the blush and the bronzer were kind of a fail for me. I didn't really like either of them. Maybe the bronzers that are in the individual packets, I think I liked them as I recall. Now the eyeshadows are kind of disappointing in a lot of ways. They've already kind of dissipated. You can hardly see that they were there, and even the darker stuff. I thought there was a chance, you know, the lighter shade did show up a little bit better. The one I put just underneath the brow is still there. The darker shades kind of mush into each other and disappear into nothingness. So the eyeshadows in general, I think, are a total fail. I've never really had good luck with Ulta eyeshadows, so unfortunately I can't give that seal of approval on them. This eye pencil, this eyeliner pencil, was disappointing because it's very hard, for one thing, very hard. And I know a lot of waterproof pencils are like that, but it was so hard I couldn't tightline with it, and it was tugging on my eyelid, and I don't want any more tugging than necessary. It's really bad. Now the lip liner actually stayed on better than anything else, and I got a darker color. I was going for that thing that they're doing now where they're kind of going over and under with a darker color and then filling in with a lighter color. I'm not sure I really like that. I didn't like it back in the 90s when we used to do it with severe differences in light and dark, and I don't think I like that particular fad coming back. It's okay and it looks good on younger people, and I'm not really sure I really care for that. Now the brow wax and powders, it's a messy thing. I used the lighter of the shades for the brow powder, and actually you could also use this in the crease, and I have a feeling that would work better than their eyeshadow. If it's not a high quality eyeshadow in its own, I think that using it as the brow powder seemed to work okay. It filled in my brows really nicely. The wax is okay. You have to supply your own brush, which I have a double-ended brush that I use for that. The mascara is called Amped Lashes, and I don't think it amped anything really. It was scratchy. It kind of coated the lashes, but it didn't really give me a lot of volume and a lot of volume, which I really like. So I actually added in a couple of sets on each side of these little mini lashes, which are the hardest. I think they're the hardest kind to put on because you can't see where your lashes are and where they are. It's very, very hard. So you wind up having some going out here and some up here, and awful. The nail polish, I really love this nail polish, and this is Peach Parfait, this color, and this came in that free set, that little bag set that you get like 19 items or something in there for free. And I'm not a big fan of Ulta nail polishes because I always thought they were very cheap and very tacky. They didn't go on well, they were very streaky. This formula either is different, or maybe it's just this color, the formula is different, but I really like this Peach Parfait a lot. I think it's perfect for spring. And it just went on like a dream. At 2 coats you had, you know, a really pretty color. I also bought in their clearance aisle the, this is kind of a shimmer glitter, which I actually initially put over the top, and it worked pretty well. This didn't really have a whole lot of pigment, but it was a very pretty lip crayon, not on its own, but over the top of something else. I think it's more effective, but on its own there was hardly any payoff at all. It wore off very quickly, so I wasn't real extremely happy with that. This kind of hot pink butter balm, this went on really nicely with the doe foot, but it dried down quickly and unevenly. It didn't wear on, very evenly, so I didn't really like the balm at all. Now the lipstick I did like, and I believe this is called Rome. Yes, this is called Rome, and I had tried several of their lipsticks before, and this is the Super Shiny Butter Lipstick. And I do like this very much. It's very hydrating, and there's a lot of pigment to it, and I would probably try for more kind of pinky tones or peachy tones in it. I would get other colors besides this, but this is Rome, and at the time that I bought this, I think it was Christmas time or pretty close around that time, where it was still like December, January-ish, and this reddish color looked good. So all in all, I'll have to say that, you know, the eyeshadows, the mascara, and the eyeliner, big disappointment, but the face products are outstanding, and every single foundation I have tried from Ulta has been outstanding, has been wonderful, so kudos to them for that. And I do like the face primer very much. I think that worked really well. The brow stuff worked pretty okay. This I got for my birthday. This was one of their birthday gifts. And it looks initially like it would be a nice color combination. I think the colors in this are a little bit different formula than what comes in these little guys. For some reason these seem to be far more pigmented than the little guys. So I don't know if it would be, you know, I could recommend these or not. I would say that when I put these colors on, they seem to last longer, and I don't know if that's psychological or what, because they're in a bigger pan, but it seemed to work out much better. Because I didn't have the receipts for some of these things, I still have them. This is the Sephora Cream Instant Moisturizer, which initially I thought worked fine. But when I used this on my face and tried to use foundation over the top, I was having problems where the foundation wasn't going on very evenly, and I realized that this has the petrolatum stuff in it, which is like a petroleum base. So this did not work out very well. The lipstick, I thought I had found a match for the Dolce Vita from NARS, and I thought this was great, but since Sephora is not cruelty-free, it's not a good match for me, because I'm not going to keep any Sephora products. These are going into my giveaway. One thing I thought was extremely unique is this is, I think, Golden Rose or something like that. This is the lip gloss, and I have never in my life felt a consistency like this. It is just like putting silk on your lips. It's water thin, It is so light and airy, smells like cupcakes. It is absolutely a unique, I've never seen anything or felt anything like this before. It lasted a long time. It was really, like, to me, a huge hit until I discovered they were not cruelty-free, but this was just gorgeous lip gloss. And I'm sure the other lip glosses and the other colors are equally as good, but I just thought even on its own it lasted. It's like a stain and it lasts most of the day, so I thought that was terrific. One of my favorites from this line was this beautiful green velvet eyeliner. It was just stunning. It went on like a dream. I could use it in the waterline. I mean, it was gorgeous. And it was something that was kind of funny because Sephora had really good eye, lip, and cheek products, and yet their face products were terrible. I didn't like any of their foundations. I tried 3 different foundations and could not, for the life of me, make them work. With a beauty blender, with my fingers, with a brush, with and without a primer, I could not make them work. So none of the 3 top, the powder, the CC cream, and the regular liquid foundation, I could not make it work. And I had the hydrating one too. This was something that they put out, that part of the proceeds went to women's charities. I used this. This was great. This was a lot of fun. But again, they're not cruelty-free. The eyeshadow I thought was a little expensive. I think this was $20 or $22, so I thought that was a little high. Let's see if we can do this. And this actually had fairly good pigmentation for what it was, but these were all basic nude set, almost like the Naked Basics thing. It reminded me of it. So that was something that worked out, and it's ironic that Sephora's eyeshadows and their eye products and their lip products were so much better than Ulta's, and yet their face products sucked. So also Sephora has the brow pencil that is exactly the same as the Anastasia Brow Wiz. This is the Honey Blonde, which is the slightly warm tone neutral taupey color. It actually worked really beautifully on my brows. The only difference is that the spoolie at the other end is actually a comb rather than a spoolie, and I don't think that it doesn't blend as well, and it's more awkward to use. So that was the only thing about that one that failed for me. I got rid of everything else Sephora, so I apologize for that, and I apologize I deleted that video. I'm just so embarrassed about it, but so anyway, that ends the Ulta and Sephora slam down, or whatever you want to call it. Ulta is the winner. They're cruelty-free, and they have fabulous face products. Some of their eye products are nice, some of their lip products are nice. So as a house brand, as a plain wrap brand, whatever you want to call it, I think they're highly underrated and they're not talked about enough on here. So anyway, everybody have a wonderful week. Have a beautiful day. Take care. Toodles.